The Rambo franchise made over $1 billion. 5 films, a cartoon, video games, one of the most recognizable action icons in history. And it almost ended before it started. Because the ending they filmed first had Rambo dying. Not in a blaze of glory, not taking out an army, in the arms of the one man he trusted, asking to be killed because he could not live in the world that had been left to him. That scene exists. You can watch it right now. And after you watch it, you will never see the franchise the same way again. Here is the question. What if the Rambo everyone grew up with was never the real film? What if the honest version is sitting on a DVD bonus disc that most fans have never touched? And what if Stallone was the one who buried it? To understand why this matters, you need to understand what First Blood actually is. Not what the sequels made it, not the muscle and the machine gun and the headband, the original film. First Blood has one death in it. One. And it is an accident. Rambo does not kill anyone on purpose in this entire movie. That was a deliberate choice. Stallone stripped almost all his own dialogue from the script. He wanted Rambo to be a mythic, silent figure. Someone other characters talked about in hushed tones because they were afraid of what he was. And the director, Ted Kotcheff, he did not come to this film from an action background. He came to it from research. Before filming began, Kotcheff sat down with Vietnam veterans and listened to what happened to them when they came home. And what he heard was devastating. The right wing called them losers who lost America's first major war. The left wing called them baby killers. They came home to a country that did not want them, did not understand them, and did not have anywhere to put them. And then Kotcheff found the statistic that became the foundation of the film. In 1980, 1,000 Vietnam veterans per month tried to kill themselves. Over 300 succeeded every month. That was his starting point. He said it in interviews for the rest of his life. That number, 1,000 a month, 300 dead, every single month. That is what he was making a film about. So from the very beginning, First Blood was conceived as Rambo's suicide mission, not metaphorically, literally. The ending where Rambo dies was not a dark alternative that someone suggested in a meeting. It was the film. It was always the film. The novel by David Morrell ends with Rambo dying. Morrell based the character on the veterans he had heard about, men who came home from Vietnam and could not find a way to stay. The book was published in 1972. The ending was always there. When Kotcheff signed on to direct, he agreed to that ending. When the script was written, it ended that way. Everyone knew what they were making. What they did not know was how it would feel when they actually filmed it. Because there is a difference between reading a death on a page and watching a death on a screen. And when Stallone watched the footage back, something shifted. But before we get to that, you need to know about the other man who was supposed to be in this film. The man who appeared in early promotional posters. The man whose name was already attached to the project before filming started. Because that man is the key to understanding why the ending got changed and why it almost did not. Before we go further, I want to ask you something because I genuinely do not know the answer, and I think people are split on this. If you were Stallone, which ending would you choose? The one that shows the honest truth about what was happening to veterans in 1980, or the one that leaves a door open? Drop it in the comments right now, because this matters for what comes next. Kirk Douglas was supposed to play Colonel Troutman, not Richard Crenna. Kirk Douglas, Spartacus, Paths of Glory, one of the most respected actors in Hollywood history, a man with genuine moral authority and a career built on serious, weighty films. He was already attached. His name was already on the promotional materials. And Kirk Douglas had one position about the ending. Rambo must die. He said it over and over. He and Stallone argued about it before a single frame of film was shot. Douglas did not want a dark ending because it was edgy. He wanted it because it was true, because it was in the novel, because the man who wrote the novel based it on real veterans. and Douglas believed that truth was the whole point of making the film. Stallone's position was different. He said, if every Vietnam veteran watching this film sees that the only way out is death, we are sending the worst possible message to the men who are still here and still struggling. He said, it is not about what is true. It is about what it means to the people watching. Kirk Douglas said it is artistic. Stallone said art is not enough. They went back and forth. The director was on Douglas's side. The producers started to panic, and eventually the production gave Douglas an ultimatum: stick to the original script or leave. Kirk Douglas left. One of the biggest stars in Hollywood walked off First Blood because they would not let Rambo die. Richard Crenna was cast as Troutman with 1 day's notice. Now here is the part you need to understand. Even after Douglas left, even after Crenna stepped in, the original ending was still in the script. Kochev still believed in it, and they filmed it. Here is what happens in the band ending. Rambo finds Troutman after the fight is over. He is exhausted, he is broken, and he is done. He tells Troutman he cannot spend the rest of his life in a cell, that whatever is wrong inside him is not going away anymore, that he cannot control it. He says, if I have got to die, I want you to do it. He places the gun in Troutman's hand. Troutman cannot pull the trigger. He hesitates, and Rambo grabs his hand. The gun goes off, and Rambo falls backward in slow motion. Troutman walks away. The camera holds on Rambo's body. That is the end. No sequel, no franchise, no cartoon, no headband. Just a man who came home from a war his country sent him to and could not find a reason to stay. They filmed it. Stallone performed it. And then Stallone walked over to Kochev and said he could not release it. Kochev said, those are the veterans I met, and that is what happened to those men. Stallone said, I know, but those men are still alive, and they are going to watch this film, and I am not going to tell them the only way out is a bullet. They argued on set. The producers were screaming about budget, about schedule, about being over time, and Kochev, right there, on the spot, came up with the theatrical ending, you know. The breakdown speech, the surrender, the handcuffs. He shot it the same afternoon while the producers lost their minds on the sidelines. Both versions were filmed the same day. Now here is where the story takes one final turn that nobody talks about. Years later, after the franchise had run through 5 films and made over $1 billion, Stallone ran into Kirk Douglas. And Douglas looked at him and said, you know what? My way was still the better way, Sly. It was artistic. But then again, it would have cost you about $1 billion. Let that sit for a second. The man who wanted Rambo to die, who left the film over it, who believed the honest ending was the right ending, eventually acknowledged that the franchise ending won. Not because it was better, because it made $1 billion. And here is the final piece. The script for Rambo First Blood Part 2 was co-written by James Cameron, the same James Cameron who made The Terminator the same year. Cameron took everything that Kochev had built, the emotional damage, the abandonment, the country that used these men and threw them away, and pointed it forward instead of inward. He turned Rambo's grief into a weapon. He took the trauma and made it kinetic. The serious anti-war film became the fuel for the most explosive action sequel of the decade. Cameron knew what the audience wanted, and the audience did not want the honest ending. They wanted Rambo to survive and fight back. They wanted the anger without the grief. They wanted the headband, not the hospital. Here is what I keep coming back to. The director said it himself in the last years of his life. In 1980, 1,000 veterans a month tried to kill themselves. Over 300 succeeded. That was the starting point. He based the band ending on real men he had talked to, real names, real stories, men who actually did what Rambo does in that scene. And the version that survived, the one that made 5 sequels and a cartoon and $1 billion, is the version where he lives. That is not a knock on Stallone. He was trying to protect real people. He used actual war stories in the breakdown speech. He wanted those men to watch the film and feel something other than finality. But the version that got buried told the truth about what was already happening to them. The franchise made sure the world knew Rambo's name. The band ending made sure that for about 3 minutes, everyone watching understood why he should have been allowed to come home without a war waiting for him. One of those versions is on a movie poster. The other one is on a bonus disc. And the one on the bonus disc is the one the director said he would make again. Here is your homework. The band ending is available right now. It is on the DVD and it is easy to find online. It runs about 3 minutes. Watch it and then come back to the comments and tell me one thing. Which version is the better film? Not which one you prefer. Not which one you would want to watch on a Saturday night. Which one is the better film? I think you already know the answer. And I think that answer is going to sit with you. If this gave you something you did not know before, hit like and subscribe. We cover the version of these films they did not want you to see. The best stuff is always the part they almost did not let survive.